Hello again and welcome to another Nick Beck's Watch Reviews. As you can see in front of us here, I have a brand new Casio G-Shock. This is from their new, or I say new, I think they've been out a couple of years now, Carbon Core range. I'd like to give you my honest opinion, tell you a little bit about the watch, what I like, what I dislike, and just give you some honest feedback on it and my honest opinion of the watch itself. I'd like to say thank you to everybody again for bothering to watch my videos. I've gone past 800 subscribers now, which is incredible. I didn't realise I had so many family and friends and didn't realise they were so loyal. I'm way past 250,000 views worldwide, which is just, I'm just taken aback by it. So thank you, everybody. I would like to point out again that I'm just an amateur. I do this for a hobby. I love watches. My father was a horologist, loved clocks and watches, so I guess it's in the blood. So this is only a hobby. I'm no expert. There are probably lots and lots of mistakes I make and hopefully lots of things that I get right. So do forgive me. I'm lucky that 99% of my feedback is lovely. It's just really kind words and really nice people out there. And you know, there's been a couple of strange comments, and you know, I try to answer them as long as they're fair and polite. You know, I've got no kind of problem with that at all. So you know, fire away. And without further ado, as I always say, let me bring you on to this new Casio Carbon Core G-Shock. So here is the hang tag. And as you can see, it's the GA-2200 MFR 5AER. It's a quartz, so it needs a battery. I think the batteries on these tend to last between sort of 3 and 5 years. I know the new hardcore, I forget what they're called, heavy duty ones now have the 7-year battery. So fingers crossed this lasts you know, a good few years. This particular watch has a 50mm case. It's 13mm deep. We have world time, lots of different countries you can use it for. It's got a dual display, so we've got a digital and analog. It's 200 meters water resistance, as all G-Shocks are. We have a mineral glass. It has an alarm, a backlight, a chronograph, probably 10 things that I will never actually use, you know, apart from maybe the backlight, just to say to people at parties, oh, look at the backlight on this. Anyway, it has luminous hands. I'll post pictures of me wearing it on my wrist throughout the video, and obviously the lume shot and the backlight shots. So again, my catchphrase, without further ado, let me bring it up to the camera and, you know, show you around. So like I say, this is a Casio G-Shock from the Carbon Core range. As you can see, we've got quite a lot going on the dial. On the left-hand side there, you have this gold framed, let me bring it right up there, this gold framed mode dial with kind of orange highlights. So what I'll do, because I'm kind of getting a little bit better with these things, let me just show you what happens. So if you go to your mode button, which will go A, B, C, D. So if you go to your mode button, which is B, and press it, you go round to WT, which is world time, and you'll see it change there. You can see London flashing through the digital display. We got a stopwatch, and straight away you'll see the stopwatch timer come up again on the digital. We have I think that's a countdown timer, down to the alarm, and you can set, I think there's 5 different alarms on here you can use, and then we're just back to normal kind of standard time. So that's the mode dial, if you like, and you can see on the mode dial it's quite complex. It's framed with this kind of gold tone grained frame. Then you've got the little wheel itself, and it's got text on it, 20 bar, I think that is. It's obviously 200 meter water resistance. And it's got little black highlights, and behind the actual wheel itself, the base is done in orange. So it's, you know, it really is quite eye-catching. Then you've got, moving on to the dial, you've got, I guess they are, I don't know what the word is. The indices are just markers. So you've got different colours at the top of the markers, from the 12 all the way down to the 6. It kind of swaps around alternate orange and purple. Two lovely, big, very, very legible sword hands, tipped by black, and they've got little kind of black bits going into the hand, and white frames. And the actual hands are white, as you can see. They do have a fair amount of lume, but, you know, let's not say too much about Casio lume. It's not a great deal to write home about. You've got Casio G-Shock printed in sort of a grey and orange. Down the bottom, the subdial, you can see, if I can get that to focus on there, there we go. You can see you've got alarm and a date function. It's not, I'm going to be honest, it's not the clearest digital display. When I hit the backlight, you'll see it kind of brightens, well, obviously it brightens up, it's a backlight, but you can see a lot more clearly. And you can actually set this to stay on for 3 seconds, and I do believe you can actually set it to come automatically when you turn your wrist. It's got a fade out function, so it kind of just fades out. Moving on to the dial, so most of the dial is kind of like a grey black plastic, and you have an inner chapter ring. And moving out, the actual bezel on this one, again, is quite complex. You like I say, you've got your A, B, C and D. You've got adjust to adjust your times. You've got your mode to flick through your different modes. Start for your starting your stopwatch. And reset up there on the C button to reset your stopwatch. Now you can have daylight saving on this one. You can have, like I say, I think there's about 300 different, or 30 actually. Do you know, I can't remember, but there's different world times you can have, and you can flick through those really quite easily, going through the mode button and then the adjust. At the bottom, you've got this kind of big black solid button here, and that's for your backlight display. You can see G-Shock written in white embossed on the bezel. You have your 6 kind of, I don't know what they are. They're not alums. You know, you can't get an alum key in there. They just seem to be for show, and I think they're metal. So you've got them around the case. This particular one I went for, this is like a brown, distressed brown colour. So you can see little highlights where it's kind of supposed to look like it's worn through, and you've got some pink and orange in it. You've got your mineral crystal, and then turning the watch on the side. Again, if I can get the camera to actually focus here, there we go. You've got these kind of ridged, very tactile buttons on here, and I really, really like the way G-Shock do that, because you can actually really feel the button itself, and like I say, they're very, very tactile, and they you know, I think they look really, really military and very robust. I know military watches are really the big thing at the moment. So turning the watch round, you can see the other, if again into focus there, you can see the other kind of big buttons, and you can see the fact this is actually quite a thick watch. It doesn't wear enormously on wrists, but it's extremely comfortable, but it's actually 13 millimeters thick. Now, lug to lug on this one, the actual watch case is 50 millimeters. It doesn't look like 50 millimeters when it's worn on the wrist. This, I would say, looks more like a sort of 45, maybe even less than that. It actually doesn't look like a huge watch. Like I say, it's quite deep, but even that seems to hug the wrist. And I think because a lot of it, if you look at the lugs, There we go. The grey lugs that kind of two-tone the case, if you like, are curved down, so it really sits nicely around the wrist. And then, as typical with Casio, you've got this fairly supple rubber or resin strap with a nice plastic black clasp there and a plastic keeper ring. So I open up this, and like I say, you've got your Casio carbon core with a stainless steel back. You've got your 4 screws to undo it and replace the battery. And if I bring that right up close, you can see it has quick release pins to change the resin strap. Now, personally, I wouldn't bother to ever change a resin strap on a G-Shock because A, they last forever, and B, they're kind of made to go with the watch. However, you know, you might want to put a NATO, and I know lots of eBay shops sell the little extension jobbies, whatever they're called. So you could put a NATO on it. You could even go for a leather strap on it, you know, who knows? Or you could just replace it when this one's worn out with a new G-Shock strap. So, you know, but they are very robust, and anybody who's had a G-Shock knows these things just go on and on. They just last forever. And it is quite supple. It's quite bendy. It's very, very comfortable on the wrist. Like I say, it does kind of fold nicely down to sort of to the curvature of your wrist. The lugs point down, so like I say, it really gives a lot of comfort. And you know, Casio and G-Shock have been doing this for a very, very long time, and this is where they are absolutely at their best. Casio G-Shocks, I think they're robust, they're good looking, they're classless. They just know how to make a really, really cool, trendy, if you like, I don't know if that's still a word for young people, but they just make a really nice, everyday, wearable, I don't know what the word is. I think the guys on the YouTube things call them beaters. They're just great watches. I love them. I love them. If I had the money, I'd probably have 100. But the problem with me is then I'd only ever wear one. So anyway, that's the new Casio G-Shock that I've got. And like I say, I'll just flick on the old backlight again for you. Very, very good in the dark. It actually lights up more than the digital display, so you do get a little bit more light to read. Like I say, the lume is not fantastic, but it's, you know, it's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you could probably read it most of the night. You can probably see the hands just about most of the night. So yeah, that's my new Casio G-Shock. This particular one come from, I think it was from Watch Shop or Watch Hut. I can't remember. I know they're the same company. Cost, I think this one was £100 or £105, I think it was. And in my, you know, very humble and very amateur opinion, it's worth every penny because it will just last forever. And probably a good way of putting it, if you only had or only wanted or only needed one watch by Casio G-Shock, you really can't go wrong. They just go on and on and on. I've got a G-Shock upstairs in the back of the drawer somewhere. I think I've had for the best part of 20 years. I think I can only remember changing the battery twice. It's a little bit old and beaten now, but I can probably bet that if I put a new battery in it, it will just spring back into life. So they are cracking watches. So thanks everybody for listening. I do hope I haven't bored anybody too much. Thanks again for watching. And like I say, I'm not an expert on anything. So please leave lots of comments in the comment box. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of the watch. Tell me what you think of my videos and the Michael Schumacher car in the background. I'm a big Michael supporter. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks again. And I hope you enjoyed my video.